Jesse stared into the sack, could only see the smoldering darkness, but thought he heard screaming, far away. It sounded a lot like Dillard. He wanted to smile, but found he was too sickened by all of it. Jesse left the living room and peeked out the front, making sure Linda hadn't returned. He'd sent her and Abigail off to Linda's mother's in her little Ford while he took care of things. She'd started to protest, but Abigail began to cry. She left. But when Abigail began to cry, she'd left. Jesse went out into the garage, picked up the Polaroid of Ellen, and brought it inside, leaving it on the floor next to the tape and knife. He wanted to be sure the police found it, that they knew just what kind of person Dillard really was. He snatched a hand towel from the kitchen and wiped his prints off the Polaroid, the tape, and the knife, then walked through the house, wiping down any surface he remembered touching. He felt he was being overly cautious because without a body, there was no crime. Unless there was some very clever detectives figured out how to search the bowels of hell. Jesse had taken Dillard's police radio, gathered it up along with the things Dillard had taken from his truck, grabbed Krampus's sack, and brought them all with him as he headed out through the garage. Jesse stepped out into the morning, the sun peeking over the nearby hills, lighting up the river fog. He started for the woods, for the truck, when he heard a snort and froze. There, just across the lawn, stood Santa Claus, in front of the Yule goats and sleigh. The two angels, those terrible angels, stood on either side of him. Jesse glanced to the woods, wondered how far he could get before they caught up with him. "There is no place to run," Santa said. "There is no hiding from God." Jesse let out a great sigh. At least he'd taken care of Dillard. At least he could die now, knowing he'd done that much for Linda and Abigail. "I waited," Santa said, "until you were finished. I did not have to do that." Jesse looked at him, puzzled. "I could have intervened, but your deed needed to be done. Now there is a little less evil in this world. Despite what Krampus may have told you, I have only love for mankind. My charity comes from deep within my heart." Santa extended his hand. "The sack." Jesse looked at the two angels, their piercing eyes and swords of light, and knew he had no choices left. He brought the sack to Santa. "And my keys?" Jesse tugged the skeleton keys from his jacket, handed those over as well. Santa gave him a nod and climbed aboard the sleigh. "Is Krampus dead?" Santa looked Jesse in the eye. "He is gone from this world. You didn't have to kill him. You didn't have to send that man to hell." Jesse was quiet for a moment. "Yes, I did. That had to be done. You should understand, then, that there are things that have to be done no matter how horrible." Santa gave him a judicious smile and seated himself, popped the reins, and the two goats tromped forward and climbed into the morning sky, leaving Jesse alone with the two terrible angels. The angels watched him with their ominous, condemning eyes. Jesse knew they were about to take his life, maybe more, but they only lifted their heads heavenward and drifted upward, disappearing into the blinding rays of the morning sun.